What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the S3 Magazine podcast. Today we've got special guest Chris from E3 Spark Plugs, and we got Bubba from Black Bear Off-Road. We're going to talk about Overland over weekend prep.
S3 Magazine.
What is up?
What is up, man? Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year,
guys.
First podcast of the year. Give yourself a pat on the back for putting up with 2020.
We survived 2020.
God, and Bubba, I don't know how. I mean, I know it's been shitty for a lot of people in 2020, but Bubba, I feel like you've been crushing it all year long, and you're on the come up. I like that energy, man.
I noticed that people were resting, and I throttled down. Yeah. I'm not seeing media come out. I'll be the media. I'm all about the come up. So I'm worried about 2021. The big companies are like slowly getting back going, and they're like, who is this guy on our way? What is this guy? But it's too late. The machine's created.
He's already up.
You're like, I'm off and running now.
I'm in.
Yeah. All right. So what are we talking about today, Jesse? I mean, I just kind of jumped on here. I don't even really know the topic other than we are going dandy overlandy this weekend. And like for me and for Jesse, like we do some wheeling, but we hadn't done like the whole full blown. Yeah. See, like we get dirty, but like we hadn't done the whole overblown overlanding camping thing. So we're picking January.
It's the just month.
In the Carolinas.
Go out there and in the Carolinas when it's going to be snowing and a low of 18. So I know Bubba doesn't get cold, but I'm kind of concerned about the weather factors. Should I be concerned? I was talking to Jesse earlier, and Jesse was like, I mean, I think it's good to kind of like over prepare, but I don't think it's actually going to be that bad. What do you think? Like, what do I, as somebody that is, I got nothing, man. I got a hammock.
Yeah. So what do we, I'm trying to think of like, what goes behind preparing for like an overland, like over the weekend kind of thing? I mean, wheeling is obviously different. I got my recovery gear, get some water, and I make sure I have, enough gas to get back.
So in a quick nutshell, like just describing overlanding, it's glorified car camping, right? I hate to break it down to that simple of a thing, but it's car camping. But I always say, like, you got to have objectives or it's not overlanding, you're just car camping. So we want to go from point A to point B and then stay as many epic places as we can, bring food to eat, like try not to go into cities, try not to be anywhere that's not dirt road, whatever. So all you really need is your basic camping stuff. And then from there, it's all window dressing, right? So you got to have a good sleeping bag, warm clothes, and a way to make a fire, some water, some food. That's your basic stuff. Now, if you look at this Tacoma, that's in this pretty picture here, you'll see he's got it rigged out with, the rooftop tent. He's probably got this epic kitchen set up. That is, as you grow, you realize, the creature comforts make it worth the while. Makes it all
hands down. Down.
Makes the experience better. But for your first time going out, you just need a good sleeping bag, some, basically a 30-pack of beer and a good sleeping bag and some kind of rations. Whether it's Snickers bars or MREs or ramen noodles.
And doors. I should probably bring my doors.
Absolutely need the doors. Well,
honestly, though, if I'm making I would like to say I think the winter is the best time to overland. The reason being is there's less people in campsites. There's no mosquitoes. Snakes are sleeping. And some bears are sleeping. So in Georgia, they don't really hibernate. But in the Carolinas, they're less likely to bother you this time of year. So you're like, there's less likely for anything to bother you other than the cold. So that's your only thing you have to worry about. You just wear more clothes, make bigger fires, stay in your vehicle longer. It's not a big deal. I would rather deal with cold than deal with a busy campsite.
All right. So since I'm a noob, I don't have a pretty little pop-up tent on the roof like y'all have. I got, I have a tent, brown tent, but I don't want to sleep outside if it's that cold. So I'm not bringing that. I'm just going to sleep in the back of the Jeep. So my plan is a little sleeping pad with a sleeping bag on top. Tell me about sleeping bags. What do I need if it's going to be 18 degrees at night?
A 0 degree bag.
Yeah.
which we found out is not very expensive. I was on the phone with Wooley earlier, and he was like, I mean, super overwhelmed, thinking like hundreds of dollars. I go on academysports.com or whatever, and we're looking at the Coleman 0 degrees for $80, $90.
So quick little tip, if you have a 0 degree bag, a 0 degree bag means you will live at 0 degrees. You will not be comfortable at 0 degrees. So if it's going to be 20, you don't want a 20 degree bag, you want a 0 degree bag. So that's kind of how you buy your sleeping bag. So like a summer bag is like a 60 degree bag, even if it's going to be 65, 70, 75, whatever at night. So just an idea. But they're not that expensive. Like you can get a Coleman set up. If you're buying a cheaper bag, it's not even a terrible idea to get a negative 20 bag. Like if you're going to go with if you're not going to go all out, buy a $500 sleeping bag, but you could.
See, in my mind, I want to go all out if I'm going to do it, just because I feel like a cheap sleeping bag, I'm just going to like sweat in it. It's going to get gross. It reminds me of the sleepovers I did in elementary school. And like, is that true? Like I was reading some reviews and they're like, yeah, it's warm, but the zipper gets stuck immediately and you're going to be pissed off. You know, they're like, you kind of get what you pay for. But if you're going out for a first time, would you just entry level it and get something and go, or would you spend a little money? I mean, see, I'm threading a $300 sleeping bag or whatever, but if I use it now and if I use it next month when we go to Windrock, and you know, it gets cheaper the more you use it.
I would buy a $300 sleeping bag.
I was gonna say, I mean,
150.
You've got your kids are gonna be sleeping in the house over the weekend. Borrow their comforters. Like I don't even go this. I mean, I'm serious. Like this is one of your first outings. I would not be dropping even $100 on a sleeping bag. I would bring 2-3 good blankets from your house, and that honestly should just pile on. You know, layer up. I've done that plenty of times. I woke up in Colorado to 4 inches of snow that we had no idea was going to be coming. It was freezing, and it was not, you know, super expensive sleeping bags. It was just layered up blankets and stuff, and that type of stuff made do. So for the first trip, that's kind of my opinion. If you really think that you're going to get out and start doing a lot more, then absolutely go ahead and grab a bag. You know, I kind of agree with Bubba. 3 sounds a little bit steep for a bag, but at the same time, I also really agree with the whole, especially with how cold it gets up there, grab the negative 20 bag, because then you're actually going to be comfortable versus surviving through the night. Because that's the thing with, you know, when we talked about, you know, what exactly is this? What are we getting into? You know, it's eat, sleep, wheel, repeat. I mean, that's what overlanding is. What people don't tell you is that it's exhausting. You know, this cool picture that I did out in Colorado, you know, I did 4,300 miles in 10 days. And
that's at
every
11,000
day,
feet of elevation, so you're really tired.
Yeah, and you're just in your vehicle all day, bouncing around as you're hitting trails and stuff. I mean, it's exhausting. So you want to be able to try to get that good night's rest. And that's where also this concept of overlanding, you know, what is it? Eat, sleep, eat, chill, sleep, wheel, repeat. Like that's kind of, you know, you break down for camp at 3:00. You start cracking open drinks, cooking up dinner, relaxing, sitting by the fire. Like you're enjoying the location that you got to. Like Bubba said, get from point A to point B. Let's check out that new spot and let's chill. Like I need Jesse to be cooking up some bomb tacos on Friday night kind of thing. Like, and you don't do that starting at 8:00 at night. Like you do that starting at 5.
Yeah, you never sit up in the dark ever. It's the worst.
See that messes up with my rhythm. Like I'm already like at home, my rhythm is already like I'm up to like midnight or whatever. But as I think about overlanding, I'm thinking when the sun goes down, I need to be ready to knock out, because when the sun comes up, that's when I'm gonna be up. You know, that sun is gonna wake me up first thing in the morning.
That's why they make beer. It's a common thing for overlanders.
Okay.
High gravity IPAs do fantastic jobs for that.
I'm all about that,
my
because I'm gonna
Willie
need that.
would just be roll with some blankets and stuff. See how that goes the first time around. I mean, don't leave any behind. You know, bring as many as you need. I'm gonna be bringing a bunch. You I'm probably not even going to bother with a sleeping bag. I mean, I've got one, and it may just get fully unzipped and get added as another layer.
I use a -20 bag, basically if it's under 40, and I paid $80 for it. And I've used that bag for 4 years probably now. And I've used it in 0 degrees in Michigan, and it's even good in like 45, 50. And then on blankets, I use a wool blanket any other time of year, no sleeping bag.
Yeah. See, you're Bubba. I just don't picture you getting cold.
I'll lay on the ground. I'll dig into the dirt and just sleep in my hoodie.
He gets up and just the earth is just steaming below him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got the same thing. I got a wool blanket. It's really nice. It's that like Wool's black and red plaid on one side, wool on the opposite. So I think I'll be fine. I've already tried that out a couple of times, and it's one of those blankets that like if I put on in my house, it just traps all the heat in and I start to sweat. So
it's the Everest rule. So if you freeze to death, we leave you on the mountain there. It's just
okay. Just put a flag through my body.
Two concerns. Like one is the cold. I would rather overkill the cold. I can be hot as hell. I don't care. Like I ride mountain bikes in the summer. Awesome. It's going to be hot. You just know it. It's going to be hot. But like it's the cold that you're always like, well, what do I bring? How many layers? So that's kind of got me a little messed up. The other thing is what Jesse was saying.
The worst part of the cold is in the morning. That's like what you don't think about. You think, oh, when we get done wheeling and we're around cooking dinner. No, you make a fire, you're warm, you're like moving around, and then you get in the bed, you're warm from like being by the fire. When you wake up in the morning, that's the miserable point. But by then, you're cranking the vehicle and you're getting dressed, and then it's time to start wheeling or make your breakfast.
And even then, it's 10 to 20 minutes tops that you're cold, because as soon as you start moving around, breaking down camp, like you get warmed up. Like
it's like getting out of the shower, like in the winter.
Exactly. It's just a burst. So
yeah,
it's over.
My other concern is that y'all are gonna be like, well, I'm gonna go ahead and hit the sack, and I'm gonna be like, yo, it's 10 o'clock, wide awake.
Yeah, I'm kind of a late night around the campfire.
I'm a late nighter too.
Yeah, okay. You're good.
As long as we got enough drinks.
So the cool thing, to touch on what you're talking about, like, wheel, eat, sleep, repeat, all those things. A lot of times when I get home, I'm exhausted, and I'm like, I thought camping was supposed to like give me the energy, but during the week, I get the energy of thinking back on what we did. So it's like the camp time stuff is what I'm thinking about more than even the wheeling and like the stuff you saw. You're like, man, that was hilarious when that dude fell out of his chair, or he told that story, or I didn't know this about so-and-so, and you're like, that was epic. And how was the wheeling? Oh, it was pretty good. You saw some cool stuff.
I feel opposite. I feel anxiety about the idleness of just sitting by a campfire. Because, Chris, you might know, but like Bubba and Jesse know, like when I'm done, I'm done. I'll be like, all right, freaking ready to go.
I saw
it. I like the wheeling, but then it's like just sitting around. I'm just too hyperactive. I'm just going to be like, all right, so what do you guys want to go do? Should we go night wheeling? Should we go I don't know, screw with guns? Like, what should we go do?
Yeah, we can do all those things.
I think
the hanging out. I guess I just need to kind of adjust my whole little vibe and just embrace the hanging out, and just kind of chill. I guess that's what you do there to do.
The day will wear you out, and then you won't have to worry about it.
That's another thing. I think I was originally concerned about that same thing of like trying to deal with the change of like sleeping schedule, but I think overlanding all day, like driving all day long, will naturally exhaust you, and maybe that'll be the case the first night, but I think by the second night it's gonna be like I'm ready to knock out.
You remember we did like 50 miles in your Pathfinder, and I was in my Cherokee, like the Trailhawk. We were like, we can't do one more mile. I'm exhausted. I don't even want to eat any. I just want to go home and go to bed.
Yeah. Well, that happens.
But then you still have to set up camp and like cook your food, and then you're like, oh, I'm finally getting to eat, and it's dark, and then it's a few stories, and you're like, oh, it's kind of bedtime.
I was gonna say the night passes.
than you
It
think.
happens
It's
a
like,
lot
wait,
faster
it's
than you
already 11 o'clock? Oh, man. And we got to be wheeling at 8. So you're like, all right, got to go. Yeah.
The other thing I don't really get is the whole fascination with like preparing the food. Like I can do that here at home. I was literally just going to go get some deli meat and just throw it in the passenger seat because God knows it's going to be cold enough. You don't need a fridge. Like a loaf of bread, some
Well, I mean, for
bread,
some,
and some good. Like
okay, so I have both buddies. Some guys just bring MREs because what they want to do is as soon as they get to camp, boil water, pour it in the MRE, and start drinking, right? And they don't want to deal with the cooking. And then some people who like to cook, it's like a challenge. You're out here, you just have a 2-burner stove and whatever you could fit in your cooler. And like the more epic you can make the meal, the more epic the trip was. But like,
so you guys like seasoning and sauces. You bring.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I have a round wheel that is all the different spices. Got the garlic butter and the filet.
I don't know if you've seen the Mamba wheels, but they have the holes that's perfectly meant for your seasonings to slide in. For the rear mounted wheel, that's where it's at. A little bit of adobo.
I'm in.
I'll throw in some cash if y'all want to cook so bad, because if not, it's horse head ham, man.
No, Jesse, you need to do tacos one night, man.
So what goes into like the meal prep side of this? Because like in my head, I just got Vienna sausages, peanut butter jelly and bread, like just for quick eats. But I don't know what goes into the whole like the camping meals. From Florida, I didn't really do much camping at all. Like it was just not a thing for me. It's hot. I'm a big guy like Bubba.
So like Bubba was saying, you got completely different train of thought. It all comes down to the group and how into food are people and everything like that. Jesse, I know you're into food. So, if you want to cook up some awesome tacos, like tacos is a super common thing for, the camp meals and stuff. It's easy, it's basically, a one pan cook kind of thing. You throw it on some tortillas and bam, you got a bomb dinner. I've seen people do seared tuna and scallops out overlanding in the middle of Moab. Like, I'm serious. Like I've seen it. It's crazy. And so, there's a mix of everything. I've seen people do soup, like from scratch, do soup. And so I've even done camping trips where we're doing pasta, like chicken and pasta dinners.
Damn.
So I mean, it all comes down to what you want to do.
I made like a chili con queso dip before. That took like an hour. Yeah.
Hey, y'all do that, man. Y'all do that.
It all comes down to what you enjoy.
I have a
fridge, which makes it a little easier because like the stuff's not getting soaked and everything else. So, Jesse, we can do some grocery shopping. We can go pick up anything and everything that we need. To make it easier so you're not spending so much time, Wooley, some of the stuff you can do in a prep side. Tacos, for example. Let's say we want to do fajita style. Maybe you chop up all your peppers and onions at home and you throw them in a Ziploc bag, in advance kind of thing. Stuff like that.
Or like pre-season your meat and that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I always say every great overlanding trip begins at the grocery store. So like you're literally thinking like, all right, what's the least amount of stuff I can bring to make the most epic meal and like fit it in my fridge, and then how will be the fastest way I can cook everything. And mostly I think dinners I have as long as I want. Breakfast is it's like how fast can I make eggs or bacon or sausage or whatever. So I've even cooked like smoked sausage. I cooked it before I went and then put it in Tupperware. So I just had to heat it up and not worry, like, is it cooked through? Like, just go ahead and just warm it up and I'm ready to go. So
I've done pre-wrapped like egg bakes. So I'll do like a massive like 16 egg sausage breakfast, hash browns and stuff, all in like this massive egg baked casserole. I'll cut it up in individual sizes, wrap it in aluminum foil. And because it's in the foil, you put those into the skillet and you're literally not even getting any dirty dishes, when you go to reheat it. So like there's all different things that you can do to keep it fast, keep it clean. I agree with Bubba. Breakfast, it's usually nice to try to keep that fast. Whereas your dinners are where you spend more time getting something else. Cause it's also that wind down time, you're winding down from the trail so that you can, relax.
Okay, that brings up another question I got. What about water sources? Like, don't you have something on board, Chris? Don't you have like a whole bunch of water?
I have a 14-gallon water tank on my roof.
Well, if you don't, like me, see, my thing is I'm really trying to get my head around this because I am minimalist as hell. Like 8 months a year, I'm in board shorts. Like I don't even like to have a phone on me because it weights me down. So, I mean, look at the Jeep, no doors, no, you know what I mean? Like that's the way I like to do it. So having to think about like, shoot, man, I mean, it's going to be like 48 hours. I need to think about water. I need to think about water for me, for cleaning, for in case shit breaks, or something. You got to have some sort of water source to keep an engine cool or something. I don't know. But like, so if you're a noob, I mean, how much would you bring? I was thinking about bringing one of those like pesticide squirters, that, did we lose Bubba?
Yeah.
Bubba's phone
His
died.
phone was dying. He said, eat your prunes, y'all. That's his little tagline. But anyway, the pesticide squirter, I was thinking about getting one of those and just having it just to be able to spray. Is that stupid? Like, what would you recommend to some people that are noobs for water supply? Because you damn sure need water.
Yeah, I mean, so for the biggest thing that it comes down to for water supply is understanding what you need that water for. So if you're talking about like, if you're the type of person that absolutely has to have epic meals, well, then you have to have a real supply of water so that you're able to wash dishes and things like that. Now, some of that you can try and do in a creek. Jesse, you've got that picture of Charlie's Creek there. I mean, you can rinse off and wash some dishes in the creek. I mean, that's not, a big deal. It's food, so you're not polluting the streams or the creeks or anything like that. So that's really kind of the big question that you have come down to. Wooley, you were talking about keeping it minimalist and just, having deli meat sitting in the passenger seat. I mean, if you're talking, all you've got is, sandwich meats and bread and things like that. Well, then the only thing that you're going to need is drinking water. I mean, you don't really need anything beyond that. So every instance, you got to evaluate your own stuff, how much you want to do, because when I first started overlanding, the only water that I brought was what I needed to drink. Then I noticed that I started needing some water to do dishes. Okay, I just used a couple water bottles. I didn't have a lot of dishes. The first time I made a lot of dishes, I said I didn't have any water, and I was like, I either need to bring more water or make less dirty dishes. These are the two things that need to happen to me. And then my very first time camping in the cold, I learned a lesson going to wash those dishes. Without hot water, greasy dishes just get worse. So that's why I have on board instant hot water heater now too. So, I mean, the overlanding experience just continues to morph as you go. Yeah. So.
Yeah, until you've added 1,600 pounds worth of crap to your vehicle.
Yeah, but you don't use it year round.
Well, I think it's important, and I think to the point of like keeping it simple the first time is kind of like understanding that you can survive and you can go out with these like simple things. You only get those extra things because like this is really nice, or the creature comforts. Like I want to be able to make a dank ass meal for my crew, but obviously that's not something you need to do every time.
And Jesse, I love the fact that we're going with some guys that are experienced, because I am going to take the fairly minimalist approach this time and just learn from it. I'm going to bring a crap ton of blankets, and stuff like that, because that's the only thing I'm seriously concerned about. Everything else I can kind of get through. But yeah, and I'm just going to pay attention. If people are cooking, I'll watch and I'll see what they're doing, and go from there. Decide if it's worth it. I don't know. I mean, if you've got 6 or so hours just to kill and you're just hanging out, you may as well cook big, right? And then the drinking is going to be a fine art of just enough to just kind of go and be out, and be comfortable, but not too much to be
just enough whiskey to warm you up for bed. So
yeah. I was thinking wine. That'll warm my ass up, but that's a slippery slope, dude, because I will not want to be messed with the next day.
I think that Bubba would probably agree with me. Probably the biggest thing to kind of remember as you start exploring, getting into this concept of overlanding and camping and things like that, is that it's impossible to get it right the first time. The entire experience, even at my level and Bubba's level, we're still learning. Like I'm still learning. I'm learning that I don't need to bring my instant hot water heater every single time. I don't need a 14-gallon water tank with me every single time. Like I mentioned, I've got 14 gallons of onboard water. I'm not bringing that with me this trip. Like, we're going to be in the forest for 2 days. I don't need 14 gallons of water with me. So, you know, it's constantly evolving. And the more that you get out in there and go, you just got to observe. And the best tip that I can give is that when you get back from your trip, like Wooley, I'm telling you to load up on those blankets, bring them with you, bring everything you possibly can. You know, Jesse, I've been talking to you about bring a chair and bring a table because, you know, it'd be better to have it than to not. And the big kicker is when you get back from your trip, take a look at your truck, take a look at your rig, all of your bags that you packed, any pack containers, things like that, and look and see what did you not touch. If there's something you didn't touch, make note of it. And the next time you go, you might not need to bring it at all. Now, there's some stuff that you're going to, you know, it's always best to have and not need than to need and not have. But again, it's always a learning experience as you go, like growing with it.
You know, I've got a little note section on my phone, and it's just got everything I need to bring when we go wheeling, you know, down to whatever, you know, walkie-talkies or two-ways or whatever, you know, it's just, so now I just kind of go doom, 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 collect all the stuff, throw it in the Jeep and go. So I guess I'm going to have a similar type plan for this type of stuff, you know?
Yeah.
I found that to be really helpful because I'm not a note person, and for years I just winged it. You know, you always forget something stupid, like a charger for something. You're like, God. So, yeah, I don't know if anybody's listening, but just the notes in your phone, man, write it all down, you know, and prioritize it.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. I'm stoked, man. I think cold aside, the cold could actually make it really freaking epic and memorable and beautiful. It's supposed to be snow.
I'm hoping for actively snowing, man. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, I looked at the weather, and it looks like it's supposed to snow on Friday, but it's not supposed to snow after that. So if we, when we get there, it might be snowing. But I like the idea of experiencing the snow without having the snow entire time. Because
I'm ready for it all, man.
Yeah.
Well, and it seems like the wheeling's going to be lighter than, you know, we normally go when we go up to like the North Georgia mountains. Like, is that kind of how overlanding is? It's not as like intense wheeling per se. It's more just getting to the next site, right? Or
as a general rule of thumb, overlanding is not as extreme as off-roading. It's more again about the destination. You know, a little bit about the journey. You know, it's the time in the middle is always fun, and you want to enjoy it. But yeah, overlanding is generally not as extreme as off-roading, but it all comes down to where you go. I mean, again, this picture right here, that was an off-roading trip, and it's known to be some of the most beautiful and at the same time dangerous trails in the country. So, still super epic.
Whew.
Yeah.
I'm imagining where you were in the driver's seat and from your perspective in the driver's seat, like past that hood, there's just,
there's nothing. Yeah, I had a spotter, you know, guide me, and I asked, I was like, how far away?
You sure?
Well, no, I was asking, I was like, how far am I away from the edge? And they're like, here. And I was like, okay. And I just kept moving closer, and they're like, stop.
Oh man. All right, so we got sleeping arrangements, we got food, recovery gear. I'm assuming that's going to be the same that I would bring for wheeling.
Yeah. I was going to say everything we've been covering has really been mostly like the camping side because you guys are pretty experienced with the wheeling. But I mean, you know, when you're looking at an overlanding trip, it's basically camping and off-roading is really what's happening. And so, yeah, I mean, you're going to bring all of the exact same stuff that you would bring with you for your off-roading and wheeling trip. All your recovery gear. You know, I've got traction stuff. We're bringing comms because we've got multiple vehicles in the group, and that just makes it easier to communicate and everybody understand what's going on. You know, Wooley, you and I both had chainsaws the last time we went. Like, I'm still bringing that with me just in case. So, you know, all of your typical wheeling gear will still be coming along. Now you're just adding on that whole, we're staying out there overnight. So,
yeah.
So particularly for me and Wooley, since we're sleeping in our vehicles, a lot of my like storage stuff is going to be outside of the Jeep. overnight. Do I have to have any concern on how I secure that, or do I need to throw shit on the top of the Jeep so it's hard for anything to get to, or what's that like?
So in my experience, the big thing is as long as if it doesn't have food in it, you don't really need to worry about it going into, at least by critters, by animals. Obviously people, that can be a problem, but taking people out of the equation, the biggest thing you got to worry about is animals getting into your stuff. If there's not food in it, they're not going to be going in there. They can smell it, and if they don't smell food, they have no desire to go into it. Animals don't just break into things looking for food; they smell food.
Yeah, yeah.
Talking specifically to Florida, raccoons have awesome opposable thumbs, and they can open almost anything. And so, yes, I would highly recommend going all the way to the roof of your Jeep if you're in Florida.
You can have raccoons on your roof.
Or physically putting locks on everything. Yeah. Bubba had mentioned some stuff. It's wintertime. I don't think the bears are really going to be a big issue. But when you do have food that you're going to be keeping outside of your vehicle, especially trash from cooking dinner, you want to go with, I think they're typically called bear bags. They're basically scent-proof bags that you put your food in. You wrap it all up, and it doesn't let any of the scent out. And then you take those bags and you typically go hang them in a tree, again, trying to make sure that critters can't get into them, and you don't want them like in your tent, because if scent does get out, they're coming for it. So
I mean, so I'm thinking, I'll be fine if I like Ziploc my food, put it in like a Tupperware container, whatever that has like the snap-on edges, should be fine.
Yeah, that should be fine.
Okay.
As you start getting into the summer months, if you're going to keep food outside, I'd probably still recommend that bear bag, though.
Okay.
Ziploc, I don't think is going to be good enough to prevent that smell from emanating out.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Dang, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Them dudes got a sniffer on them.
They do, man. It ain't no joke, and I don't want to wake up. I would not want to be in a Jeep and wake up to a bear rocking it, trying to get it.
I'm just like, leave all my shit. I'm starting the Jeep and I'm going. Bye.
I wish Bubba was here, because not too long ago, I think the last time they were out, he woke up to coyotes circling. And let me see if I can get this straight. I wish he was here to tell it. He's got the rooftop tent on his Jeep, but it is not big. It's either big enough for his kids and his wife or him. So not both. So I think he was sleeping in the Jeep, and his family was above him, and then there were some people on like a ground tent and a couple, maybe one other person, and he heard them, and he kind of woke up groggy, and he saw that they were like kind of circling, the campsite and everything, and he was like, oh my God, am I gonna have to shoot one of these coyotes and wake everybody up to that, which would be kind of. And then finally he just was like, and he thought about it, and he grabbed his keys and hit the panic button or something. And so,
nice.
And they took off. Yeah. But he was like, dude, I consider myself a savvy, prepared guy. But he's like, when you're in a dead sleep, dead dark, and you're out of your normal place, you're home, and you wake up and you're kind of confused, and you just see the reflection of the eyes, and you're groggy. If you wear contacts, you probably can't see anything, He's like, you gotta kind of be aware, so have that kind of handy. But
that was quick thinking. Honestly, that was awesome.
Yeah. But yeah. All right. Well, I'm feeling good about it. I still think I'm gonna freeze my nipples off, but that's all right.
Yeah. Is there anything? Is there anything that I haven't asked or that we haven't thought of that's essential for preparing for a trip like this?
I think the simple stuff. Jesse, you and I have exchanged a couple of comical memes and comic strips. You want to be prepared for simple stuff like the bathroom. Bring a poop shovel.
Yeah.
For creature comforts, I have a seat.
What the hell is a poop shovel?
You use it to dig the hole.
Yeah, I don't know what that. I've got to go make that purchase tomorrow then.
Wait, why is a hole priority when you're in the woods? Can you not just kind of walk away from it?
No, man. You're out on other trails and stuff. You wouldn't want to have to walk over if you needed to pee and then step in some human's poop. So no, you dig a hole and then you poop in the hole and you bury it.
See, the reason I like the hole so much is we did some research on this, and I'm thinking the tree hugger situation, get a tree that I can wrap my hands on, lean back. My concern is I don't want my nuggets rolling down to the back of my heels. And so I've got a hole, it's keeping all that where it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and the poop shovel never touches the poop. Like, you use it to dig the hole and then bury. Yeah. So.
All right. Well, I guess I'll cross that bridge when I come to it.
So we also didn't talk about. So I need to bring.
Again, if we don't go overboard on all the spectacular food, it probably won't be an issue.
That's true. So I got to think about toilet paper or wipes for that matter.
Yeah, I keep a roll in the truck at all times.
Okay. And
I got to think about dumbass stuff like contact solution and stuff like that. Guess I just got to deal with that. Damn it.
I mean, you could just go specs for the trip.
I don't have any glasses. Funny story about that. They got scratched, and I tried to put some headlight restoration on them, and that does not work on glasses.
You work at all. Wooley, you are too deep in the automotive industry, man.
I was like,
this is the same, right?
And for a second, it was, holy crap, this is gonna work, and then it dried.
You got the wax orbital, really the handheld like car wash orbital thing.
Yeah, man. So I'm in this thing. I got it's contacts or nothing. I'm gonna have to drive for me because I'm blind as a bat.
Yeah. Well, again, you can bring that stuff. It shouldn't be a big deal. So.
Cool.
All right.
Well, if there's nothing else, sounds like all I got to do is buy a shovel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chris, can I borrow your shovel?
You can borrow the shovel, but the rule is when you come back from the forest, you must have the shovel touching your face.
So I know that it's clean.
Proof
Gotcha.
that it's sanitary or what?
Proof that it didn't touch the poop.
Gotcha. Another thing I have, and you can thank Corona for this, but I've got, antiseptic wipes and whatever, sanitizer in the Jeep 24/7. I've got their own little Molly bags for all of those. So I'm set up to stay clean. And I'm also thinking about, I saw they have the refresh wipes at Marshall's or whatever that smell good. I don't know if that's too much. And I'm a shower, I'm a morning and evening shower regardless of what happens in the day.
That's right.
So I'm probably going to pick up some of those too to stay fresh.
I'm gonna love this.
I was gonna say, I got, again, I've gone levels up with everything. I mean, I've got the instant hot water here, the 14 gallons, and I've got in the shower room. So I mean, if I got to break that out, I might need to put the water tank back on the truck.
Oh damn! Oh damn!
Yeah. Well, showers are overrated.
$10 a shower.
He's out here hustling in the woods. Hell yeah!
All right.
Well, I think that about covers it. Though.
Overthink it. I'm going to, but I don't want to overthink it. I at least just wanted to get some basic info on how you Overland nerds think, and try and at least be sort of prepared.
Cool.
I can lean on y'all if I need something, but I don't.
Absolutely.
Y'all will give me a bunch of crap for it, and
no way. That's the other thing about Overlanding, man. We're all in the just like so many other segments of the automotive industry and car culture. Overlanding is in that group too, and so we're no man left behind. I mean, Bubba joked that if you freeze to death, we leave you out there like Everest. We don't leave anybody behind. If you need anything, whatever's on my rig, if you need it, it's there for you. And again, that's just what the community is. So There might be some joking, and some teasing. Most of that's just Tacoma versus Jeep than anything else. So, but nah, anything that you need, man, I think that you'll be fine as long as you got the basics. Now, if you showed up with no doors, no blankets or anything, yeah, you'd get a hard time. But I know you'll be better prepped than that.
And I got the top on. All right. Well, hell yeah, man. I guess I'll see you all Friday, man.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm looking forward to it.
Dope. Well, thank you for joining us. This is S3 Magazine. Reminder, we are also a print magazine. Go to s3mag.com, pick up your subscriptions. We also got some merch on there. Excited about this next issue that's in production right now. When is that issue coming out, Wooley? When should that go to press?
First of the year.
Happy 2021.
That was the plan.
Well, it's looking pretty dope. Listen, I saw the cover of it. JDM, like all of the kanji on there. Maybe I wasn't allowed to share that? You're fired.
He's trying to have, I don't know, me and Guy is our designer, and we always try and like spit back and forth about some sort of theme or whatever. And I was like, yo, we got basically 2 imported Japanese cars, and they were both they're dope, they're just cool little cars and stuff like that. We're like, let's try a twin cover. Let's try and do like total JDM style magazine and go over the top with it. And we'll see. I hope people get it. I hope that people understand and they just don't go, what? Like, 'cause there's a lot of stuff going on.
I think it looks dope. I feel like it looks like something I had to get overseas. So
Yeah.
I'll look forward to seeing it, guys.
yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Hopefully soon. I mean, guys putting the finishing touches on stuff. Normally, once you go to press, it takes about 2 weeks to get it back in your hand.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's the worst part of my job, though, Chris, dude, because you got to like proof everything. You've already written it. You've already proofed it. You know what I mean? You've kind of already seen it so much that you've kind of memorized it. And you know what you're supposed to be saying. And then you have to proof it again. And then you have to send basically the corrections to Guy. And then you have to check it again to make sure that the corrections were done right. Because sometimes you can get weird crap happen when you're cutting and pasting and stuff. And then the printer sends you proofs like, okay, this is what we're printing. Make sure. And at that point, it costs you money. So any change you make, you're paying for. So then you're like, oh, son of a bitch. Like,
is it worth it?
Is it worth it? Yeah, you're having to make that call. It's like the worst part of my job. I absolutely love my job, but those proofs are just like, oh, dang it, man. Guys like this are just like.
So what's funny, Wooley, is take exactly what you're talking about proofing it, seeing it. You've written it, doing it over and over and over again. But take all of that, and that's basically exactly what I do, except it's with engineering CAD drawings that I'm sending to suppliers, and we're going to build 10,000 units that'll actually get installed in customers' cars. And if it's done wrong, hey.
I don't know. Jesse, did you tell these people listening, like, Chris is an engineer for E3 Spark Plug?
Right. I said that. I think I mentioned some of it in the beginning, but yeah.
So that's what he does. Yeah, that's more stressful. Mine's embarrassing. Yours is embarrassing and like legally
and dangerous.
Yeah. So luckily, of course, I like to think I'm very good at my job, and we take quality control incredibly seriously. And I believe that we offer a great product. So no issues on that front for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool, man. All right.
Well, I will see all of y'all Friday. Yeah, man. Thanks for joining us. Bubba, thank you for joining us. I know you're not with us right now. Don't forget to eat your prunes. S3 Magazine.
People.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Night.
Later, man.
Later.